Japan. I've talked about my graduation and how I spent my 2 years in Tokyo Nasugakuin under the voice acting department. The video was really long, right? That's why I separated it into 2 parts. Today I kind of want to do like a summary of what I've really learned. As I mentioned before, the reason why I picked Seiyuu department is because I want to use better Japanese when speaking, although at the end it didn't really work that way, I guess, because at the end when you want to use another language, it's all about the practice. However, after I studied there for 2 years, I've learned that what I learned there is not really about Seiyuu skill, it's more like life skill. The Seiyuu skill part is like maybe 40%, and the remaining 60% is actually life skill that I learned there, which mainly focus on communication. In this life, what's most important is communication. Isn't it right? What did I really learn in the 2 years that led me to understand more about communication? First of all, warm up is very important. Let's say I say 1, what reaches to the viewer may not be 1. It may only be 0.4 or 0.3. That's why with warm up, we actually get to be able to relax. First thing, when we are relaxed, we can do more than we expected. As a performer, I should give out 1.5 so that the customer, so that the viewer can get 1 or at least 0.8. Always aim of getting your message delivered. If what we say doesn't reach the other party, then there's no point in saying, right? When we were first year, during our first term, our compulsory lessons focus more on the basic, how to protect our voice, how to practice my tongue so that my intonation and accent will be acceptable to Japanese, how our mouth shape. When we want to use good Japanese, instead of opening our mouth to the side, we actually focus more on opening our mouth top and bottom. Whether it's to say 50 Japanese alphabet, 아이오에오 가키코게코 사시수세서, or whether we say the wirori sesha oyakata tomosu wa. Even when singing, when I warm up, I actually like to sing a guy's high-pitched song. I like to sing with at least 9's big break. Show's voice is actually pretty high as a guy. We also learn about warming up our expression. Even though mouth and tongue are the main muscle we use when we speak, our expression actually means a lot as well. In relaxation class, we actually learn how to stretch our body. When we do stretching, we are actually releasing all our tension, because when your body is tense, you can't be free and you can't speak louder than you want, and you can't express more than you want. When our body is tense, we tend to stop our breathing here. That's why when everyone's nervous, this is like super tight. That will not enable us to project a very good voice. Relax our body so that our breathing can go all the way down, and then it can also go all the way up, instead of just being stuck here. The reason why we want to use tummy voice is so that we don't give too much pressure to our neck as well. If we really become a seiyuu, let's say game recording, you will have like 100 pages and then like 100 lines. Just depending on your neck, just depending on your throat, you already feel as a seiyuu. There's another one thing that I wanted to point out is sound. Voice is also a kind of wave. Wave goes down, sound goes down. So in the vocal practice, we also learn of how to try to imagine our voice going up. Say louder, or else no, you won't be heard at all. Second life lesson that I've learned, practice or planning beforehand is very important. We have our script. The basic thing to do is of course to check the intonation, check how to read the kanji, imagine how to portray the character. However, there's actually way more to do than that. I don't think it's only in seiyuu industry, but I think in life we should always be prepared to be able to give out more than what is expected. We should prepare at least 2 expressions for the character. So let's say character A, we express this character as, let's say, 8 years old, but when we do the recording, the director say, can you make the person 4 years old instead? If we are not ready to do what is demanded by the director, we also become someone that can't be used anymore. We need to have like inside us a drawer of skills. Not just seiyuu industry again. Everything is about the very first impression. After the first impression, kono hito ii ne. This person can answer to my demand. Let's use this person again. We should always think of the future. And the other reason why practice or planning beforehand is very important, because in the seiyuu industry, multitasking is very important. Here you have the script and then you have the video. First of all, you already need to multitasking this and that. Match the kuchipaku, which is to match the mouth movement. And then another one, you need to be able to listen to all the other actors. Let's say if all the actors are very happy and you are not able to catch up with their attention, well, it doesn't work as well. It's not just their performance. I don't know about now. I mean, now that there's corona, so the number of actors or actresses in a recording booth is like limited, maybe 4 to 5 at one session. But before, there can be like 10 actors and only 3 microphones. So we should also be aware, like, I should enter to this microphone. But after that, there's another person who wants to enter, so I need to go out from here, or I need to go out from here, so that there's no clash or something like that. So there's actually a lot of multitasking needed. Of course, there are additional lessons, like for example, number 1, greeting is very important. In our school, we have stairs, because we have lots of students. Whenever we pass by a student, or a teacher, of course, or staff, whether we know that person or not, in the morning, we should always say, "Ohayou gozaimasu." And then during daytime, we should always say, "Otsukaresama desu." Although I'm actually very bad at it, I don't really like to be noticed by someone who I need to do small talk with. I'm very bad with communication, okay? More like I'm very bad with human interaction. And of course, whenever class starts, we should always say, "Ohayou gozaimasu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu." Whenever class ends, "Otsukaresama deshita. Arigatou gozaimashita." Greeting is also like, "I'm here. This is another day where I want to do my best." That kind of expression. And then of course, "Otsukaresama deshita" means like, "Thank you for all the help. Thank you for all the hard work today. Arigatou gozaimashita." Those two are very important. I mean, greeting in general is very important, isn't it? And then next one, we also try to be able to do small talk. When we go to the studio, there are fellow actors, but also their manager or director. We can't just talk about anime and seiyuu and pop culture to them. Well, I'm slowly picking up that skill, because with my partner, sometimes we will watch news when we have dinner or when we have lunch. Well, I don't hate it in general though. 2020 was tough though. All we can talk about was corona. Next one, looks is very important. People will look at you first comparing to listening to you first, right? When you first meet someone. Even though narration, intonation, accent, and how you project your voice is very important, a very important part when we are going to do audition is of course our look. That's why we need our audition picture. In the biodata side, we actually handwritten it. Writing it neatly is also very important. Well, I'm confident at that. Speaking about audition, there's one more thing that is very important to be shown during audition. Yaruki, motivation. Because we were still students, we don't have any experience of really being a seiyuu. If someone was to hire us or a famous seiyuu, of course, people will go to the higher seiyuu. That's why the only thing we can really show instead of our experience is actually our yaruki. That's why smile is very important. And of course, the tone of our voice, how bright it is. And I understand that a lot. So these are a bit of tips if anyone wants to practice. Maybe if someone wants to enter one of the seiyuu schools, some preparation before entering. First will be learn how to get used to reading from top to bottom. When it comes to Japanese words, Japanese originally isn't written from left to right, it's actually written from top to bottom. And then second will be learn how to write your own accent sign. For example, in Chinese, we have the 4 accents. Even in Thai, we have like my ed, my to. But in Japanese, you don't have it at all. That's why I'm having very hard time writing the accent in Japanese. Japanese in general, we actually use this kind of sign. This is demo. So this is the real reading of the accent. Demo, go down here. I'm not good at explaining it. And then to practice the accent, using your hand is one thing. For demo, demo. Writing Romaji doesn't really work. You still need to write the accent to remember where you should go high and where to go down. むずいよ、イントネーションアクセント。苦手。I already pretty much given up on it. Of course, it will be good if you have good ears so that you can pick up where's the high and the low in no time. And then I'm not that good at doing this. When we try to use another language, imagine how your phrase sounds first, then you say it out. So you already have the voice of reading it here and then you say it out. I don't know why, but I'm good at doing that in Chinese, but I'm not good at doing that yet in Japanese. Or maybe because I use more English and Japanese faster, like my mouth moves faster than my brain or than my ear. But yes, like if I were to say how are you in Chugokugo, I would think first ni hao, but konnichiwa just comes as konnichiwa. I don't know. Or maybe my tongue is just used. I'm not sure. Some tips of how to memorize script. Writing is very useful for me. So I will write down what lines I need to say out. Although there's the downside of it, which is because I'm not writing another person's line, I came to become unsure when should I say out my line. And another way of memorizing, well, not just script but anything in general, say it out. And of course, practice. It will be better if we can actually put action in words itself. Saying it out, it also practices the muscle here, and then the muscle here, of course, remember it. And so yes, there's also another thing. It's like how if we keep on singing the same song again and again in karaoke, we just happen to have the lyric as if it's behind our hand. Alright, that's all for this video. I actually learned lots of life skill, mainly communication. It's also my 2 years of living alone in Japan. I guess slowly I'm really learning of how to become more and more independent. Although I still need people. People. Thank you for watching. This was V. I still have lots of vlog coming up, stuff to upload to YouTube. Please stay tuned. I also mentioned before that I will start to talk more about my personal things. I still have confidence in my voice and in my look. And my smile, of course. And of course, I like to act cute. And またね! Take care always! 体じゃない。健康気をつけてね。見てくれてありがとうございます。